going.
That's what they had picked. You done pretty good.
Okay, so I tried the flour thing. I am definitely not good at making thin stuff. This one blew through the side, and then this one was supposed to be this, but it turned out not getting there. So I tried it, but I wasn't very good at it, so I ended up just making cups. And I've been wanting to try and make it to where the spirals or the rings were right in the middle, so I got them to where I got them on the lathe to make the rings right in the middle. So I was happy with them, and now the wife she almost didn't let me bring them in. So she's afraid I was going to give them away to somebody.
55. Okay, that's fine. Sure. Oh, sure. Sorry.
Probably a good student. I have to try something.
You did.
This was definitely a learning project. It made a very nice little funnel, and I didn't want to keep the funnel there. I wanted to try, so I was listening to Craig, and I thought of all kinds of ways I could make this less of a funnel, more of a, so I finished this, but I made little layers in there. So when I glued the funnel back on, it was covered up with beads and the inside. So very nice learning project. I'm going to keep.
I turned this on a piece of cherry that I got from Don, put a captive ring on it. This is thin enough where the light goes through it, which was one of the goals. The bark is hanging on, but it's still solid. So I put a couple coats of walrus oil on it just to finish it up. And my granddaughter gets to play with it. She thinks it's a Who phone, you know, calling Mr. Who, you know what I'm saying? But anyway.
So I was busy with Branchwood. Really enjoyed the different projects. I was able to do the pod flower here. Something that I learned is the different types of wood have different transparency. So shining the light through there. When I made my first one, you know, I got the feel for how thick it was. The second one, I thought it was the same thickness. I blew right through it. So, you know, having to pay attention to how much light actually gets through there.
What was that product?
So this is what Don gave away. What was that super hardwood that he's hornbeam? This is hornbeam. And then I have a couple others over there. I think one's out of hickory. The hickory was definitely different. It did not shine through as well as this hornbeam. Even though it looks like it's the same wood, you can't hardly tell the difference between the two. I wouldn't be able to identify them by looking at them, but definitely different transparency. So kind of interesting how it worked out. And then I made this a few months ago. My wife saw these mushrooms at a little crafts thing that she was at, and she sent me a picture of it. And I just got done trimming trees. I was getting ready to throw everything away. And so I just made those for real quick. Then my brother-in-law had a weeping willow tree that fell down just this past weekend. So I went over there helping clean it up. I grabbed a few of these and they ended up turning into great flowers. Once I figured out how to do it just right with the skew, I could peel through making one of these in 2 or 3 minutes. So I was able to make a bunch of them real quickly. But it took a little bit to get that feel. It thin. Oh yeah, hour probably. I probably blew up 3 or 4 because I'd get it too thick. Trying to make those too thick. And the second I got kind of that perfect shaving, and I'm not a big skew guy, and some people are, most people aren't. But so I'm not as skilled with the skew. So it took a little bit more time, I think, I had a few catches in there too. So, you know, just kind of getting that perfect shaving. Once you get the feel for it, you just keep peeling it back, and it takes a matter of minutes to get it done. So yeah. And the thing is, like, lots of these, if you look, they're not even, they're not consistent, but neither are flowers, right? And so, you know, they have, that's what makes it neat. It doesn't have to be perfect. It could just be kind of these wonky little areas there, and it looks like, makes it look more like a real flower actually. So turned out good.
Well, it was fun making these podlets again, and this one I bent it to 90 degrees and it would not stand up, so I actually bent it back so it would stand up, and I found out that it helps to make a larger base on it, so I made this one a larger base, and of course it split. This was a piece of maple, and then still didn't want to stand up. This is a piece of the horn beam that Frank brought in last week, and I boiled it and then I steamed it a little bit, and I cut the slots down, 3 slots, and then I put in a piece of spring steel, clamped it, and it bended inside, painted the inside, and makes a nice little vase.
These are pieces of pine, and what attracted them to me originally was the amount of knots that were clustered together, and so that's why I turned these pieces of wood. And so this actually comes out this way. This is back closer to the body of the tree. And this, the third piece here, it's all from the same piece. And this only has 2 coats of linseed oil on it. And theoretically, if I continue to soak it another 10 times or something, it'll become translucent. We'll have to wait and see. This one, we turned a while back, and what I was looking for was this. This is a feather, and so I was trying to figure out how to best keep that in my piece of wood. And it's actually a trunk and a branch in this, with this running in between. And so the shape it turned into was simply the shape it had to be to get that exposed. So.
So I pretty much didn't have the right light to try to do the one to figure out if I was getting thin enough or not. So I went ahead and decided to make a tulip, but I cheated and I made a smaller ring to at least do something a little different. It's interesting, fun. I'll do more. And then one of the last pieces in the box when he left, well, it had multiple branches in it. So I went ahead and took it, and this is what came out of it. Yeah. And I started yellow and then green, but where he mixes all of it up, I mix it by the rock. So it's like I'll have a small bag of 2 glass.
These are Bradford pear. I was just playing with vases, and it's like my second vase. So it wasn't too bad, but it was a good project. I tried the other, but it broke.
I did successfully pull it off. I somewhat successfully, when I was trying to get the top and transitioning into the thinness here. I did something where I torqued the top to the point where it had stress fractures right here, but I CA glued the heck out of it and then continued on down the stem and got it pretty good. When I went to bending it, I saw that there was a limb that was coming out right here, so it wanted to bend more there. But ultimately, I got a pretty good curve, and I don't know what I did right that made my bottom not crack, because it was as wet as all the other wood. But for some reason, I did sand it down smooth and everything, but it stayed together, and it was a challenge for sure, but I enjoyed it.
Well, you've seen all the pretty, so I'll show you the ugly. That was my little branch that I had. It was about 7 inches long, 1.75 inches. This was the first attempt, and I thought, not thin enough yet, but I attacked it from the wrong edge. Here was the second attempt. Boy, I got that one nice and thin, and I actually got about 1 inch of stem before I slipped and cut through the stem. So this was all that was left after I had my tenon on the end, and I said, well, I got to make something out of it. I can't let it go to waste. So I made this little goblet here, but that was my first attempt at back hollowing with a spindle gouge, and it turned out pretty well. So I never gave up.
Here, we'll let you draw for me. This is for the challenge from last month. Look for your number 685. We can all get certificates from grad supply. Sure. Good job. Thanks everybody for participation. That was a good table of challenge products there. So now we'll move on to the show and tell and bring them up. Put your items right down here and tell us about them. Oh, I'm sorry. Craig wrote it down for me and I set it over here. Craig has created the challenge. Challenge for next month. Color your wood. Wood stain or dye stain or penetrating oil or paint, then top coat. So put
comment on the dye stains and
the things that have the same vehicle. Yes. Okay. So that's not a hard challenge. Everybody can kind of get into that, and it doesn't matter size or anything. So color your wood. That's our challenge for next month. All right. All right. Now we'll get into the show and tell table. Ben, you got something to show, don't you?
Paul brought me a piece of Bradford pear. Paul brought me a piece of Bradford pear tree stump, whatever it was. And he said, make a bowl out of it. So I got one gave it to me with 7 branches and the base. So it was kind of sitting like this. And then there was a big branch sticking out this side. So I just put it on the lathe and just started cutting through it and got it all turned. And there's a lot of bits in it, 6 of them that are still in there. And then I brought it in to let him take a look at it. And I had this big bowl sitting in here about that high. And he said, So I cut it out of there, and I think it looks a lot better because you can still see the grain where the cracks still follow through on it. So it's still part of it. It's got all kinds of inclusions in it. This area right here blew out on me about 5 times, and this side blew out. This little piece right here ended up in the next room across from me. So I didn't find it until I was about done with it, and it was still about this thick. So I glued it back in there, and then I took the grinder and grinded it down flat to make it look like that. Tried to bring it down to the same level as it was, so I think it turned out all right. It's got beautiful grain all through it. The Bradford pear is just a real beautiful wood to use. I think I'm gonna get a lot more of it from somebody. So
It's a trash wood.
yeah.
They're trying to get rid of it.
Oh yeah.
Richard Blackman says that is his favorite wood to turn.
Yeah, I love it. It shines up. This finish on there is just 400 grit, and then I just threw walrus oil. I didn't even buff it or anything. Just put it on there, rubbed it in, so it comes out real beautiful.
So first off, for those that were here last month, this was my safety minute bowl that was in 2 pieces that literally split on me when I was turning it because of something I did, a catch that I made. It glued back together pretty darn good. The spalting lines go the same direction, and that's my crack right there. That's the crack, so it kind of died out. It's probably something that I'd never sell because I never feel good about the fact that it had cracked all the way across, but I'll keep it around because I think it's a beautiful piece, and it sure did have fun spalting. So I just wanted you to know that I did finish that darn thing. And then I've got a niece that is pregnant, and we're going to a baby shower this weekend. And her husband is a music instructor. He teaches guitar and stuff, and so they needed musical instruments. So I created these maracas by drilling out a hole, hollowing them out, and then putting the plug back in the hole, and then turning it off smooth, and putting some beads in there before I did that. And I think I got beads and rice. The rice was a little too soft, the beads were a little too harsh, and so I put beads and rice in it. Pretty good sound. And then had a chunk of pink ivory left over from something, and created a nice little rattle. I like to add some things along the stem line on the rattles so that as the rattle goes down, it kind of rattles across those as well. So, but just a couple little fun things that I turned this month.
You watch Facebook and you watch YouTube and you get some ideas, and then it takes you months to even try them. This is an experiment. I had the wood, these pieces of wood, I think they're about 1 inch thick. I glued only the top and the bottom, which was a mistake. And then when I turned them, I lost this piece and this piece. So they fell off, they didn't like it. And then after I turned them, I took the top and bottom off and slid them and really glued them together and finished the top and the bottom. So, and yeah, and hollowed it out. I'm not very good at hollowing out, so it's really heavy, but I'm happy with how it looked.
I got this piece of wood in San Diego, and I decided to make a bowl out of it. It's tangerine, came out of a person's backyard. And so the bark is really tight on it. There's one little section that is so thin, but it's not going anywhere. It's really solid wood. And it's already started turning dark. It was a lot lighter than this, so it's already going dark. It was a nice wood to turn.
That's the piece of Osage Burl I got about 250 pounds of it 4 months ago or something. I'd never seen or thought about Osage orange as having a burl, and so I this is the fourth piece I turned. Maybe it's the sixth piece. I don't remember. The first two, I just didn't find any burl at all. It sure looked like a burl on the outside. And then the next two were, had some bird's eye in them, and they had a little bit of grain, but it wasn't very exciting. And so the last two that I've turned were these cord burls. They were cord sets, and I don't know if you can, no, you can't see any of it. Okay. So, yeah, it's interesting. The all of the lines, the compression wood is going this way. The fifth one I turned, the one previous to this, all of the burl was on one side, and it was much more apparent. And the other thing I discovered was each time, so I don't do this coring stuff a lot, and so each time I start doing it, there's a learning curve again, and I get to go through it each time. And so I didn't knock this one off the lathe once, but the other one I knocked off twice. And so it makes a difference.
What kind of finish is on?
There's no finish, it's not even sanded. I did this morning, it's still wet.
So it looks really fresh.
Yeah. And so what I did was used a little dovetail tenon on the back, and what you do is when you core the chunk, you then jam it against the headstock, bring tailstock up, and I cut this little dovetail, and then you grab that on the lathe and turn the inside and outside. And 6 months, 8 months from now, I'll put it back on the lathe and sand it. And then we'll find out about the finish. Yeah. You'll never spin it again.
There's some Christmas bulbs in that package.
You want to see it?
Yeah.
You want to save it.
Oh.
Yeah, next week.
Just bring it back next month, I'll let you.
This was actually, I never remember the woman's name. She used to be a member of the club. She was the first person I ever saw make these. And there are like 4 different types or 4 different little methods represented here. And I used to actually chase threads on the back of these. And then when it came time to do the tips to finish them, I would thread them in and then turn them. And so this time, it's the first time I've ever done it. What I did, instead of chasing the thread, I did what I've seen other people do and just make a series of beads. I'm trying to, there's 4 of them. And, oh, I see. And then, and I used the chaser without moving it. And so it just cuts a series of beads that are all the same size and the same distance apart. And then I tried doing it with just spindle gouge. And then so each of those 3, these are 2 pieces. There's a color wood and then threaded wood. And so the fourth one, and that's all the dyed ones, I made it out of a single piece of wood. And I dyed them because if I want to use really red colors, if I wanted to get really red colors, I had to spend a lot of money on the wood, and I didn't want to do that because I'm not going to be able to sell these for much. You could use lignum or Vera wood to get that green, but that's awful expensive. And so I was going to have to dye them. And the only blue wood I've ever found that's not fungus is blue mahogany. I just think that's wonderful stuff. I only had one piece of it.
So hopefully we all go home tonight with a little bit more understanding of finishes and maybe formulate some questions that you can hit Craig up with over the next few months or so. But very good demonstration, Craig. Thank you very much. A lot of information to absorb. It's nice to know that the instructor is around, so you can hit him up if he's got questions. Thank everybody for that participated in both the challenge table and the show and tell table. It makes the interest of the meeting so much better when we got a lot of variety up there, and so I want to appreciate that. Ryan, were you able to talk to Rob? Thank you. I'm sorry I get a little carried away. I think that's about it for tonight. Hope to see you all for our September meeting, but if any of you have time and can help put some of the chairs over on the rack, that is certainly helpful. And thank you all. Drive safe home, and we will see you next month.
Kevin.